Recently, researchers from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility, Cornell University, Clemson University, and Boston College made a visit to Roy Namor to do a follow-up study from their 2017 Windy mission.
Windy mission: waves and instabilities from a neutral dynamo.
This follow-up mission was dubbed Too Windy, according to a NASA press release, because it's catchier than Windy 2. The purpose of Too Windy was to collect data and study a post-sunset ionospheric phenomenon that occurs closer to the equator. To do that, the team launched 2 suborbital-sounding rockets into the ionosphere to collect the data. We sat down with Cornell University's Dr. David Heisel and NASA campaign manager Nathan Empson before the flight for more information.
We're interested in studying space weather, and so people may not be aware that much as we have terrestrial weather down here on the ground, that sometimes complicates our lives. Something similar, something analogous takes place in the upper atmosphere, in the sort of the space near the Earth, kind of weather. And sometimes, there are phenomena that are kind of analogous to storms that we experience down here in the troposphere that occur in space. And when they do, they degrade systems that we've come to depend on, communication systems, navigation systems, spaceborne imaging systems, that kind of thing. And so they're becoming to pose a threat, a hazard to our society, which is ever more dependent on these kinds of systems. So we're here to learn about that, and we're here to study both how these things work and how one day we might be able to sort of anticipate them in the same way that we try to predict terrestrial weather.
So the place in which the study was being focused is the thermosphere, our uppermost atmosphere. This is the area that houses satellites in the International Space Station. More specifically, we are looking at the ionosphere, an area of particles that are charged by the sun. This is where the space weather is located that he already mentioned. The focus of the mission was to study a phenomenon in the post-sunset ionosphere that occurs close to the equator. NASA describes the disturbance, termed Equator Spread F, or ESF, as a layer of charged particles in the F region of the ionosphere.
So you may be familiar with the aurora, and the auroral zone at high latitudes is one place where space weather manifests itself. And in that case, the sequence of events begins on the sun, and eruptions from the sun ultimately, turn into currents that flow in the auroral zone, and we can see visible aurora, and there are lots of effects that go with that. It turns out there's also another class of space weather that occurs at low latitudes, near the magnetic equator, near the place where the Earth's magnetic fields are almost horizontal and sort of level with the ground. And in this case, there's really nothing to see. There's really no optical signature, nothing that you can see with the naked eye, but the effects are as profound and as disruptive. So we come here to Kwaj and to Roy because we're very close to the Earth's geomagnetic equator, and that's where the particular variety of space weather that we've come to study can be seen. And we come here because the instrumentation is fantastic.
So part of the job is to decide the best rocket type to use to ensure the mission's success. And that's where Nathan's team comes into play.
Our job, as the provider of the rocket and the subsystems that help Dave get the science he's after, is basically, he comes to us with requirements, which in driving the vehicle selection is, I need to go this high, and be able to fly through this altitude regime sort of archetype of requirements. So for us, it's just, that's the rocket that's capable of doing it. They're both 2-stage vehicles, a Terry and a Black Brant. We've got a stable, if you will, of rockets to pick from. They're all equally reliable, more or less, and that's just the one that fit the bill for this particular mission.
With Too Windy being a follow-up mission, some changes were made from the 2017 Windy mission to the current one.
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to come back following our 2017 investigations here, but we had to do it really, really fast. This might have been the fastest turnaround, the fastest reflight in history. But in order to do it, we really had to simplify our payload. So the payload that we flew last time was very, very complicated. It involved, spooling out, deploying, probes on wires, on wire booms, and it was just a very, very complicated payload to fabricate. And we simply didn't have the time to do it. We generated a simpler payload that I actually think will be more reliable and will accomplish the science objectives just as well. So I was really, really proud that our engineer was able to pull this together in sort of record time and get us back on the rails.
for me, I just want to see the science team smiling, and we're certainly enablers of them to conduct their mission. So at the end of the day, if the science team is smiling, then I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. So we have developed some codes, some numerical codes that we think will help us forecast the kind of convective activity that we are looking for, that we're trying to study here in the ionosphere, but we need to validate it. We need to get some space truth. We need some information that is sort of unassailable, and that's what we're trying to do here, to get very solid, very high-quality measurements in the ionosphere that we can sort of pump through our forecast codes and our forecast strategy to see if it's going to work. So some years from now, it may be possible to actually anticipate the kinds of issues that we're trying to study here, and I think that that'll have beneficial effects for commerce, for science, for DoD, for lots of different kinds of applications.
In June, the mission was a success, and the data on the issue that affects terrestrial life was obtained. Now, it's up to the team to take that data and see what was found. Who knows, maybe sometime soon forecasting on space weather will be as common as weather forecasting here in the stratosphere.
Welcome to Learning Marshalese, or Kajin Marjal. I'm Mike Sakayo. we're going to learn some words or phrases to get you speaking better in the Marshall Islands. Today's word is jera, and is pronounced jera. Jera is a common word and it means friend. You can use this word, jera, when you meet a friend or friends, a group of friends. For example, when you say hello to a friend. Yakwe jera, which means hello, friend. So we just learned that in Marshalese, or Kajinamajal, the word jera means friend, as in yakwe jera, or hello, friend. So now, go out and practice with your friends, or make some new friends using the word or phrase that you've learned today. Tune in next time to learn more of Kajinamajal.